Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful, I mean it, meaningful conversations in English with non-natives like myself, Jedrek,
And myself, Masha,
and we are two English teachers
who are not lonely
because what?
because you are an expert in loneliness. No?
Right. You refer to
Yeah.
my little research I'm
Yeah.
conducting right now. Um, it's true. I have to come clean about something, Masha. I wrote an abstract of my presentation for Innovate ELT, which is upcoming next month in May in Barcelona. And I was selected to be a plenary speaker
Yeah,
this
we
year
know
again.
all this. We
You
know.
know that,
Okay.
okay, good. I'm not
Okay.
bragging. But the point, listen, the point is I didn't save that file on my disk. I just sent them the abstract of what I'm going to talk about, of
Like,
my speech.
how is it even
Way
possible?
because I was doing it in that online form. There was an online form that you fill out. There's an abstract, and
But
then
who writes straight in an online form? First, you need to open a Word document and write everything there, and then you just copy paste it. Jesus
I don't know.
Christ. I
It
can't
happened to
believe
me
it.
maybe for the
Okay.
second or third time. And
Okay.
the only thing I've got,
Mm-hmm.
because I also recorded a video that where I talk about, where I sort of present my speech. But this video, as far as I know, is not going to be published anywhere because I'm a plenary, so plenaries don't have their separate sort of websites or whatever, because everybody has to listen to me anyway. It's not like you have to go to I
Whether
mean,
you want it or not,
whether you want it
you're
or
going
not,
to hear
exactly.
it. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a session that is optional. So, but and the theme for this year's conference is power to the classroom, which I interpret as a defense of having language courses in a classroom, whether it's virtual or physical, right? Offline,
Having
online
language, what language? Forces?
courses,
I heard
forces. Did you
forces.
say
I heard forces.
language
What
forces?
are these language forces? It's like may the fourth be with forces of what?
No. Courses. Sorry. Lessons,
Language
language lessons,
forces.
basically.
Forces.
Yes. Sorry if I mispronounced something, but
No,
but
I misheard it. Mhm.
but and it's a hell of a task to defend um, a classroom today when very soon, if not even right now, you can have, well, a lesson not exactly in a classroom with a teacher, but with who.
Oh my God, not
With-
again.
yeah, yeah, but this is the theme. This
With
is
Mr.
the topic
Claude.
number one.
Claude
Yes,
is the
exactly.
best, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay. Mhm.
yeah. So, uh, I had as always, in my case, very little time to think it through, like how to defend the classroom, right? But it so happened that around the time when I was sending the application, there was an issue of the French weekly that I read every week. It's Le 1, and it was actually about voyage dans le nouvelle solitude. It means
Oh, I understand solitude.
yeah,
Solitude?
exactly. Great.
Okay.
Yes. Because and it was basically they were exploring the concept of solitude, or I would say loneliness and aloneness, and you name it, and solitude the same, because there are different shades of that. You may be alone, but it's fine for you. You may be with people, but you feel lonely, and stuff like that. But and I somehow, since I was freshly after reading this weekly, and the concept, which apparently is a huge thing, because Japan and the UK have special ministers for loneliness. Imagine this.
What?
Yes, ministers, people in the government
Maybe it was
at
a
the level of
Fool's
ministry.
Day, full 1st of April joke.
No, no, no. This is actually a fact. They have separate ministries, or I'm not sure if this is a ministry with all the sub functions on, or whether it's a person designated to deal with the problem of loneliness, but it's at the level of minister. So it has the power like all ministers, like Minister of Economy, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Defense, and the Minister of Loneliness. So imagine the scale of the problem, right? We are dealing with something huge, right?
Okay. How is wait a second? How is you having a class with Claude? Not why is it not a classroom? I mean, are we right now with you?
Very good question, Masha.
Whenever
Very
you
good
are
question.
with your student, you are in a classroom. So what are you
You are
defending
in a classroom,
exactly?
right? I guess I'm defending our jobs, to be honest, because you're absolutely right. Whether the teacher is a real person or not shouldn't really matter, because at the end you have a course. I mean, you learn something, you have a lesson, right? And why should it even matter if you are there with people that are flesh and bones, or if you are there with an algorithm, right? If the algorithm, given that the algorithm is very, very, very good.
Yeah, but then we come again, it all comes down to this, education, because life is a classroom. At the end of the day, you learn new stuff every day. You don't have to be, in a special setting,
I was always saying that a dog can be your teacher, a very good teacher.
So when I'm walking my dog, am I in the classroom?
In a way, this metaphorical classroom. It depends. For teachers, everything is a classroom. For football players, everything is a game of football.
So I don't see a case here. Sorry.
Well, look, I told you that all of the people who gathered there in Barcelona this year are probably going to defend courses with human teachers. Let's call it like this, courses with human teachers. That is, and with people. Because if you have some conversations, or if generally you go out and you meet people either virtually or physically, and this is a horribly difficult task these days, right? To justify your raison d'être, your reason of being. And I linked it up to the problem of loneliness. Initially I thought that, okay, if we decide to go this technological path, then it may be actually very effective in terms of teaching us the language, right? I'm not claiming that human teachers are better. Probably they're not these days. But it will further isolate you from the world, right? Because you will have classes with artificial teachers, artificial intelligence, right? And you will have basically no opportunity to connect really. And after all, Masha, language is serving which function? I mean, apart from many functions it serves. It's the communication, and this communication comes from the word communication comes from community. So, language is a tool for building communities, I think.
So you're claiming that you cannot connect with Claude. The guy whose book you've ordered claims that you can, and actually much faster, and maybe it's even deeper connection than with a human, because the
Ethan Mollick, you mean?
Yes.
All right.
That's what's happening right now, because they you don't even need to prompt them. They are very good at understanding what
Masha,
you
we are
need.
entering the AI again. I'm just saying. No, but
Maybe
this
we
is
should
cool.
rename
This is
this.
a cool
Let's
subject.
rename
This is
this podcast.
thinking out loud about AI in English.
I would say it's a renting. It all comes,
No,
eventually it's
wait.
a
And
ranting.
you are referring right now to the podcast, your favorite podcast, with Ezra Klein,
Yeah,
who actually was having Ethan Mollick
on the show, yes.
lately, yeah, on the show, yeah. And you say, because I was listening to that podcast as well, but I think I was in the gym and I may have missed some important information.
You should listen to it
That's
again. It's
that's
the
the value.
best so far. I mean, for my research, for the research I'm doing. I
But
was not
what did
aware
he
that these
say?
systems
What
can
did
do it.
Mollick say?
I mean, you have to. I was very skeptical about, these today that you need to learn how to use AI. I was thinking like, what do I need to learn? I just go there and ask it different questions. But what he means there is that you don't even learn how to use it, but you kind of teach this thing what kind of person you are and what kind of person you want to communicate with, and it will
Yeah, this
eventually
I remember, yeah.
understand it, and it will become this person for you. Do you even understand what it means?
What does it mean? I had a problem when I was listening to this part of the podcast.
Well, it
I
means
had
that
a
it will be
problem.
your ideal, I don't know, friend, wife,
No,
whoever.
Masha. I mean,
Yes.
yes, provided that there is one little asterisk, and one little thing, provided that you know what you want.
That's exactly what Ezra said. First, you need to understand what you want, and he says, no,
Wait,
these
does it
systems
mean
are
that I'm
so
like
good.
Ezra?
Okay, 1 point to Gryffindor. To whatever, you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I know you talk about Harry Potter.
Oh,
All right.
he says, no, these systems are already much better at understanding what you want because they can read between the lines. I had goosebumps when I was listening to this episode, honestly.
Yeah, they were mentioning some kind of 2026 or 9 or something, but Mollick said no, it's already happening. You already
It
have
is
these
happening, yes.
yeah.
And they know it. That's why, this prompt engineering, it's also maybe soon will be obsolete because these systems don't even need good quality prompts. They can read you.
Yeah, especially if they have if you grant them access to whatever,
Okay. This is
your
even
search engine history and
a
other
different
stuff.
story.
They were mentioning, I think, the future of mobile phones, because if you allow your mobile assistant, which is not yet, I think, there, but the Siri 3000 or whatever
Yeah,
will
read
be
your
the name.
journals, for example.
Exactly. Read your journal, read your private notes,
Yes.
give it access to your contacts and so on. It will actually be like the Samantha from
Yes.
Her,
You have
the movie.
let's call it a creature. You have a creature that knows you so well. And what is the most important, that it genuinely wants to please you. That's its, function. That is goal. That's what
And
they were
my
created
idea
for.
before the research, which I will have to maybe change, was that you can't communicate with this thing that is a dead matter. And that was my idea. You can't
Well,
truly communicate, and you can't create a community with that thing, this metal box or whatever it is.
I was inclined to think like exactly this, like that. But now, after listening to this episode, I'm willing to give it a try, just as an experiment. I
Well,
haven't
I am
yet.
using Pi. I'm using Pi. Do you know Pi?
Yeah, you already said.
Yeah, I'm using it. I mean, I have the app on my phone. It's not like I'm using it a lot, but yeah, I must say that the communication with Pi is pretty much like with a friend, even though we are not on equal, level, because I'm the boss. Pi is the worker, the employee or whatever. But still, this is a really friendly. I have some kind of a friendly relationship, unlike with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is like, give me that, give me this, what is the collocation? What is the best collocation with, that goes with this
he's
or
even
with that?
talking about these different systems. He says that they have different characters,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is
Claude.
something, oh. And one way, because they started with how you can use it, and this whatever his name, Mollick,
Mollick,
yeah,
Ethan Mollick.
he
Yeah.
urges people to use it for their work. And the question is, for example, I don't know how to use it for work, even if I'm using it for writing. The only thing I can think of is you just tell it, write this paragraph about this, which I don't want it to do. I want to do it myself. But he says, no. There are many, many ways how you can use it for writing. For example, when I'm writing my book, when I was writing my book, I had my notes, and I give this program access to my notes, and this program, it's like somebody standing behind you and watching what you're doing and giving advice. I think that this could be better, formulated like this, or it's a very different, it's exactly what he claims, what is he, co-intelligence.
Co-intelligence. Yeah, co-intelligence is the title of the book. I'm going to link it
So
under this episode.
co-intelligence is when you use your this thing as extension of, like you would use a
Yes,
calculator.
and I don't know. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you noticed, Masha, but the Mollick said that right now these assistants, they can also use camera, so it could actually read,
Your face, yeah.
your notes, or of course, if you are doing it in the cloud, maybe it has a direct access, but it could also read it via camera. If it was seeing the screen, and it could be like adding something or suggesting something. It's sick.
Well, for me, of course, the first thing I thought about it can see your face, it can read facial expressions, it can identify emotions much better than most humans can. And of course, I'm thinking about my topic, what I'm researching, and oh my God. And it would be nice, like you say, you use this Pi, and you obviously are not obsessed with it. It's not like you spend most of the time with Pi instead
No,
of spending time
hardly
with your
ever.
wife.
I
But
launch it
maybe
hardly
because
ever
you
now.
have I mean, you're maybe happy with your life, but imagine many people who are not. And this is exactly where they will go. Because it's
Yes, you're
easy,
right.
it's cheap, and this is perfect. It's a paradise.
But would you say that this is a remedy to loneliness? These kind of bots, chat bots, or language assistants?
I must answer this question if I want to, write this goddamn book. I don't have an answer. I don't know.
Yeah, because
It's like,
the
is
thing
an
is,
antidepressant a remedy to your depression?
to depression.
Is it?
Well, yeah, great point. Well, it sort of is, but then it isn't, because it
I mean,
depends on
if
your
you
point
plan
of
to
view,
spend the
because
rest of your life in the virtual world, then maybe yes. If you're planning to go back to the real world, then of course it's not going to help.
not.
No.
Yeah. But just like drugs, I mean, if you're feeling sick and then you take paracetamol and you feel much better,
It's
are
much,
you
much
healthy
worse and
again?
very, very different to drugs, because you're not harming anybody. You're not harming yourself. I mean, physically, you're not doing anything bad.
I mean, you're not harming anybody in the sense like, what if you harm the close ones by spending time in this, goddamn machine and not really caring about, this is exactly, Masha, I allowed myself to ask the question about paradise a couple of people. And Aga, with who I had a class today in the morning, she said that, first, of course, she said, "Oh my God, the question is totally sick." But then she came up with one argument that you would actually go out from there if someone needed your help. If you had, because look how selfish this is, I mean, you are there in your paradise enjoying, just like, it's pretty much the same like taking drugs, Here you are enjoying yourself, having this beautiful life, even, more than beautiful. And there is someone who needs your help, your dad, your mom, who are elderly, or maybe your children or whoever, but it's not like you're alone and you can go out to this paradise and spend, your life there, unless you are so lonely that nobody needs you. So, maybe the tax office needs your taxes, that's all. But, but we are not, at least for now, the state, the 12th, we are recording this on the 12th of April, 2024. We are not so atomized, let's say, that nobody notices our disappearance,
I hope.
Yeah.
I can only
But
hope. But
yeah, but you are needed, here and there. And it's not just your life that matters, but your life is important for other people too. And I don't mean the
maybe,
tax
but
office,
maybe
but
not.
that's what we are, I mean, feeling now. We are doubting this, right? If you look around, and really this loneliness, I told you, it's a catastrophe of some sorts, because there are, governments that are dealing with it at the governmental level. It's not a problem of family, of an individual. It's a global problem, a
But
societal
why? I
problem.
mean, what happened comparing to 50 years ago? What happened? The internet happened?
Yeah, I mean, not just the internet. I think there are economic and there are a lot of economic reasons for it, and there are also, I think, metaphysical reasons. If you think about the system where we live, that is, highly individualized societies, where, the individual is the most important, not the community, right? So I think this is basically, if you extrapolate this trend, and you will end up exactly having people who are selfish, who care only about themselves, and this is where we are, right? And of course, there is the add internet to it. These are basically the boosters, of that trend. But I guess it all uh, sort of originates in certain approach to life, to consumption, to being in this world, And where does that come from? I mean, it's these are powerful trends that are formed, like I said, by economics, social, philosophical forces, I think. But definitely, like you said, 50 years ago, we weren't as isolated from each other as we are today. And we didn't feel as
Maybe we
precarious,
depended
for
on each
example.
other also more.
We depended more, I think, on each other. Right now, look at this. I read an example, really nice, that a few decades ago, hitchhiking was like a standard, right? You go on holidays, well, you hitchhike. Imagine doing it
Okay.
today, Then, but there are certain economic trends that entered, Now you have this blah blah car that is very popular in France, but this kind of system where
Yeah, no, we
is this
have it
called
in Ukraine as well.
carpooling
Carpooling, yeah.
or yeah, I mean, you have your car, great. You can take some strangers and make
And you
money,
can,
monetize it.
Yeah, but you have a chat with these strangers. So you meet
True.
people.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But the claim I read was that okay, now we monetize everything. In the past, you could knock on the door of a household and basically spend the night somewhere, you know, if you were on I don't know what's exactly the name we
Today it's
call it,
called couch
right, in
surfing.
Polish, but yeah, it's couch surfing or even Airbnb, right?
No,
Where you
Airbnb is
basically,
and couch surfing. I think couch surfing is
I
exactly
know
the idea of,
couch surfing was the idea because you
you
didn't
don't
charge
pay.
people money.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But where's couch surfing these days? I mean, is it still around?
I don't know. I've never been a couch surfer.
Me neither.
Because they
But yeah,
expect,
I heard about
that
it.
there are certain, it's not that you don't pay with your dollar, but you must pay with, let's say, your attention, because they expect that you will spend some time with hosts and chat with
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
And I'd
exactly,
rather
exactly.
pay with my
Whether
dollar than with my time.
exactly, exactly.
Eh,
And moreover, you pay and you kind of mm, you pay for a room. You can lock yourself up in that room and tell everybody to get the hell out. Leave
Yeah, but
me
then
alone, basically.
you'll get bad ratings and people will not.
No,
Uh,
no, I mean you as a guest. Will you get bad
yeah,
ratings
but
if you don't talk
yes, yes,
to?
yes. Because if
Oh well,
because
maybe it's
we
not
need
so
to
dramatic as the guy was writing about. I read it in some kind of an essay, French essay.
and
Yeah, I mean, he was claiming the guy from the author of that essay. He was claiming that right now we have monetized everything that used to be. He said there are two orders. One is the economic order, and the other is the, I think, social order.
mhm.
And we have moved everything to that economic order. So we started monetizing, a couch, everything,
Yeah, it used
that
to be
used
your
to be
friend
free. That
who
used to,
babysit
yeah,
your
yeah,
children,
yeah, yeah,
and your friend who would
exactly.
listen to you, and now you pay a therapist.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, everything got monetized. You monetize
Mhm.
even a conversation with people.
So it's not.
It's only us, Masha, who are recording podcasts for free.
Don't remind me. But what would
But yeah, that
change if
is
we got paid? Actually, I wonder what
nothing.
would.
I mean, nothing,
Do you
nothing.
think so? Nothing.
Oh, really? All right. Would I be maybe sitting here in that great gold chain around my neck?
No, maybe you would be sitting somewhere in Nice.
Maybe I would finally leave that toilet or
Yeah,
bathroom. Sorry,
which you
it's a
call your
former
office.
bathroom. Yes, yes. Thanks for telling everybody in the newsletter. But
Because you make me write texts every other week.
all right. But wait a second. So the thing is that yeah, we are dealing with a huge wave of loneliness. I call it rather loneliness than solitude. I know there are some fine shades of difference because
I think there is a big
then again,
difference. They're very
solitude
different
is
things,
not
yes.
necessarily, yeah, but solitude is not necessarily a negative thing. It's there
And
was
you might not
another
even
guy.
feel lonely, yes, when you're alone.
Exactly, but there was another guy, uh, William Deresiewicz, or I can't remember, he's a Polish sounding name. Yes, Deresiewicz, I guess, who claimed that actually what we are lacking these days is solitude. We can't be alone because every time you're alone, you play some podcast, like this stupid thinking out loud, or no, I'm kidding, but you watch some TikToks, some kind of stuff to feel that silence, that awkward silence that might otherwise, be present if you're alone, if there's nobody around, right? So, and he claimed that, yeah, what we need is actually more time on
We
our
need
own.
good old boredom.
We need good old boredom, yeah.
That's what we need, to think our own thoughts, because eventually you will start thinking your own thoughts, because this silence is very short-lived.
Yes. Yes. And well, that's it, you know. But once again, the question is, can you actually remedy this loneliness with artificial, you know, intelligence programs? I don't know if it can address that.
I still can't, you know, connect the
I'm
dots
afraid it
between
can. I'm afraid it can.
classroom, loneliness, AI. What are you
My
what is your
idea for
case?
this,
Yeah.
no, my case was exactly that, you know, that you know, the future value of a classroom, that is, let's repeat, you know, this definition, having or meeting either physically or virtually a living people, that is people, not algorithms, right? That the value of that is that you can actually develop, well, certain, I don't want to say social skills, but you know, certain relations, certain connections, you can develop them with them. Whether doing it with a machine is, my idea was, it's not, you know, it's not the way to do it, but
Sorry, you need to
I'm doubting it.
re-listen to
Yeah,
this episode.
yeah. That's why, you know, but I think what we are dealing here is a cultural change, and not merely technological, that, you know, that new
Yes,
technology
definitely.
like
Definitely.
AI substituted old technology, like a teacher, you know, I mean, a person. We are dealing with a cultural shift. It's not just, you know, a matter of new tools. No, it's a cultural thing, you know, whether, look, the same, of course, happened with that famous wine from the lab, you know. You know, this wine lab that is so good, why should you be buying, you know, the one from a vineyard that is expensive? Of course, great. Still, it's good, but both are great, really, because this chemically produced wine is fantastic. So why would you even go and buy that? It's also, if you decide to buy, to overpay, no, not to overpay, but to pay more for the traditional wine that comes from the vineyard and was
I think it's
made.
the vineyard,
Is it vineyard?
probably.
Oh yeah, because it's not wine. You're right, vineyard. Okay, good. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, so it comes from this. You sure it's vineyard? Sounds bizarre. All right, but I'm not. All right, from the place where they make wine.
It's called
You know,
winery, and where they grow grapes, it's vineyard. No,
vineyard. Okay, but the vineyard is also producing. This is where they produce wine.
it's winery. No,
Really?
vinodelna. No, okay, doesn't matter. Okay, sorry, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no, fine,
Just
fine,
go
whatever.
ahead. Yeah.
In Polish, it's Winnica, you know, just like the city in Ukraine, I guess.
Oh, so nice. You know the city in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Vinnytsia.
But
Yeah.
anyway, I wanted to say that it's, you know, it's also a cultural right now thing, because you may decide for a product that is, you know, made with handmade, you know, with a know-how, with tradition
But
and
what
so
would be your
on.
motivation over choosing for
Snobbery, I
choosing
don't know. Yeah, it looks today, you
snobbery?
know, what else, if, you know, if you pay twice, three times, five times more for something that is of equal quality, but it comes from a lab, it was, you know, it is mass produced and so on. And that's why it's so cheap, right? Because I'm not saying that the tech used to produce it is really advanced, but if you produce it in large quantities, it's super cheap.
I want to support this farmer.
Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, of course. But this is a cultural thing. I mean, you know, I eat bread from the marché, not from the supermarket. Why? Okay, right now there's also a qualitative difference still. But imagine that these breads from the supermarket, they will improve over time. You know, these guys know what they're doing. They are already quite edible. And in the future, they might actually be great, like, you know, just as good as the one that is from a real baker, you know, who knows his craft, has been doing it, you know, for decades. But then you will have this, you know, machine that will actually produce a pretty much the same kind of bread, you know, both in terms of taste and nutritional values and so on.
You know, I think right now I have an idea. I mean, maybe I finally understood what you're talking about. Right now in Ukraine, you know, we have this. Okay, on my small, very short street, there are like, I don't know, 7 or 8 coffee shops. And one of them, and I rarely drink coffee. I mean, I rarely buy coffee from coffee shops. I just make my own coffee. But because I know, and there is particularly one particularly cozy place, and I think it's like a social place, you know, people go there not only because of coffee, but there are always, there are some chairs there, they sit, they talk and whatever. And there are quite a lot of people usually there. And I started, and because, you know, there is a war right now, and businesses are struggling. And I started buying coffee there, not for the coffee, but because I want to support them. Because I like it, you know, when I pass by and I see these people having a nice time, you know, chatting with each other. I like it. I like my street looking like this. So that's why I do it. Again, this maybe connection what you were talking about.
No, this is exactly, you know, this is a cultural thing. You do it out of cultural reasons, not out of economical reasons, because it's totally not economical, you know.
No.
It's
I don't even like
it's basic.
this coffee.
Well,
not,
you didn't
not
like
much,
it.
I mean.
No, I mean, yeah, if I was to inspect my shopping habits, and people who follow me on Twitter, they know that I am a total fan of the street market. So in contrast to hypermarket, right? Because I really don't like doing shopping in hypermarkets, you know. I may go there from time to time, but every time I'm there, I'm just suffering, you know. And I see the heaps of Chinese stuff, and you know, okay, maybe the chemistry, you know, detergents and so on, fine. Yeah, I may buy it there, but the food is awful, you know, mass-produced, you know, brie or other cheese, you know. Come on, give me a break, you know. It's not good. It's simply not good compared to what you find in street markets and from these vendors, you know, that come each week, you know.
But your reasons are different. You do it because it's not good.
No.
But imagine it was good.
No, Masha, you know, I say it's not good, but probably I don't mean it entirely, because it's still good quality, you know. I mean, if you buy the, you know, cheese or ham, seriously, it's very close quality-wise to what you get in the marché, you know, I guess.
Okay,
Except
so
for
the food
bread
is
right
good.
now.
Okay.
But the
Let's
food is
establish
pretty
that.
good, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I may of course complain that it's, you know, packaged like, you know, in tons of plastic and so on, but this will change very soon. There are already regulations that will change it very soon. It's going to be presented in paper and it will be beautiful. It could be even today, you know. It's just, you know, a matter of one decision by one manager somewhere, you know, in the structure. But the point is that I go to the marché, to the street market, because once again, it's a cultural choice. I overpay. This is not dictated by my wallet, you know, by economics. It's dictated by the fact I was raised like this, you know. My dad, for example, would always uh, pay uh, some kind of, you know, whether as an employer or whether as a client, you know, he always liked the contact with these local people somewhere, you know, to buy some stuff from a guy from the street, you know, who because he always saw people in these vendors, you know. Of course, they are there, they are making money, they are selling something, trying to sell something, and so on. But you know, they have some history, they have some, you know, he always saw some people in them, you know, and that's why he tipped people a lot, or not being a rich man himself, by the way, you know, it's important. And I guess I was raised like this, you know, and I was never told that you should be doing like that. No, this is pure modeling. No, this is how modeling works. I
Perfect
saw my dad
parenting.
doing it. I'm doing it right now, you know, and I appreciate also this thing, you know, that with my limited resources, I can somehow select who I support, you know. And of course, I never do the shopping with people who are just, how to say that, who are neutral, you know, or who are there just to make money. Yeah?
Yeah,
Sometimes you
yeah, yeah.
feel
You
that,
can
you know.
spot them immediately. Yes.
Yeah, you can spot them. I mean,
Yeah.
if not immediately, then, you know, after one interaction, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know.
Hmm.
Yeah. So basically, you know, I carefully, but this is happening on its own somehow, but I carefully select who I do the business with, where I buy my bread, where I buy my carrots, where I buy my whatever, everything else, you know. And this way, you know, it feels good even overpaying, you know.
Yeah,
It
I know
does.
what you're talking about. Yes.
You have no problem spending money with somebody who you like and who you know is honest and who's you know who you know I have no problem with that. I have a problem when I find one thing in a hypermarket and the other day there's a promotion, you know, 20% less. It's like you're really really mad, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you don't have that kind of problem with the people who, for example, cook something and they go out and sell it, like, you know, whether it's food or I don't know, some kind of desserts, for example. There is an Arab couple right now. They are new to the marché, and they are making something that is called. I took a picture the other day, muhala, muhalai, whatever. You know, there is some kind of an. They are Lebanese, you know, and they sell that. It's fantastic. It's great. I always buy that dessert. It is handmade and so on. It's great, you know. I have no problem. It's much better than any kind of Danone, you know, pudding, chocolate pudding, or whatever you may find on the shelves of a hypermarket.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that is, you know, that is once again a cultural decision at the bottom of it. It's not like I will repeat it maybe for the fifth time. It's not an economic driven decision driven by money, which I think predominates these days, right? Why do you go to this AI teacher? Because it's cheaper. Because it's cheaper, you know, simple. Because if you want to have a lesson with me, you have to pay 25 euros or
But
50
it's
euros.
not that simple. Imagine you develop a real, deep connection with this thing. Like this is what they are talking about in this last episode. And you will be ready to tip to I don't know, to whatever it is that
OpenAI, you
you
mean?
want. This,
This is a
yeah,
huge
Claude.
corporation. Have you read the latest book by
Okay, probably not.
um,
The
yeah.
answer is no.
All right, Ishiguro, Klara and the Sun.
No.
You have to read it. It's about a robot. Again, it's something up your street, Masha. It's
Okay.
about a little girl who is sick, I think, but she has a robot, this kind of super duper AI kind of. It's called a children assistant or something like this. I may be making up stuff now, and there are shops with these assistants, and she has one And there is a new generation of assistants entering the market, who are, even more advanced, they help children. I think there's a kind of creepy thing because ultimately they become children because that little girl is sick and she may die soon. And the parents want that robot to have her personality and to be her.
Oh my
It's
God.
kind of weird, but it's a great story. It's a great story also as a concept, that they want this robot to be a human, to kind of absorb
Yeah.
Klara's identity and to be Klara, in fact, because there is again this Tyrell corporation behind this, who's producing these dolls, or they are not dolls because they are androids, they are androids. They're yes, it's a fantastic book, by the way, and once again, mm, oh, I forgot. I lost my thought. What were we talking about? Why did I even mention this Ishiguro?
Well, because if I was saying that if you develop this connection with
Ah,
AI,
yeah.
then
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
you will be
Great.
also making
Yeah,
the same choice. It's not, I wouldn't
yeah.
call
But
it
it's different.
cultural, but
But I would never tip OpenAI or this Tyrell Corporation because they are huge and they produce great products. They produce. It's like tipping Apple. Would you ever tip Apple? I mean, sorry guys, you charge a lot for my phone. I mean, come on. I'm not going to tip anybody there, Like, okay, your phone is 1,000 euros. I'll pay you 1,050.
well, wait
Well,
till
come
you
on.
develop a relationship with AI, and it will be so good that at
Yeah,
some point you will even forget that you're talking to a machine.
it will be as good as the people from the marché.
That's what they say.
Yeah, in that case,
Well, in
you
that
know,
case,
was nice. But yeah, you're right.
professional podcasters, they don't do these things. They don't laugh over something without explaining. And what did we just do?
Who said we are professional podcasters? We are
So
two
why did you
amateurs.
laugh?
I laughed because there was a meme in I don't know which issue of our fantastic In the Same Boat newsletter where I posted a meme. Well, in that case, you can scroll down in the issue number 9 or 10, or I know it was one of the first memes. I like this section, by the way, a lot. Memes are great,
Okay.
and sense of humor is great too. I think if this is not the remedy for everything, could you actually have yeah, you could also, these guys are good, these assistants.
They're
They also,
getting better and better at humor.
yeah, they could even, they could even be funnier than you, Masha.
Thank you.
One day, not yet.
Okay.
But all right, so um, that's it. This was my idea for the presentation that was ruined by a little bit of research that you can't develop a community or some kind of bond with an artificial teacher. But now my line of defense is that it's a cultural thing, and teaching really is going to be teaching like the old school teaching. It's really going to be this kind of diversion. There was an author who was writing about this teaching as a diversion or something like this, because this is going to be an activity that's going to be niche, just like these guys on the marché. But they will be coming there, they will be there, but you will have these huge hypermarkets, huge thing that will basically grab the vast majority of the market.
This is totally this is not about, okay, it's I wanted to say, I was thinking, while we were talking about when I was a teacher, especially a senior teacher, I had to observe lots of other teachers, and I had a mentee also. And you can't imagine how many classrooms I have seen where you have a human teacher, human students, but
I know
absolutely
where this
no
is going.
connection. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
not a matter of who is in front of you, a human or an, again, when I say
Claude.
AI, yeah, let's say Claude.
Yep.
It's I mean, it's not
Yes, you're right.
100% guarantee that you can develop a
You're right.
connection with any human.
You're right. You're right. We did it to ourselves. You know, we became robot-like, and now we have a problem that robots are taking our jobs. You know. Well, yes,
Yeah, we
they
can
are
never
because
compete with the
you are not an
robots.
inch better than this. You know, or even much worse. So yeah, this is a problem. You know, this is a huge problem. That and it's awfully hard to remedy because um this kind of depth or whatever you name it that some teachers have, it's a product of well, I think very, very solid education that we are lacking, you know, these days.
Well, we
I
should
know
have
actually it's
actually seen
something.
it coming, because what we've been doing is rewarding mediocrity. And
Yeah,
on this
yeah,
podcast,
exactly.
they say that right now the AI is definitely much better than any mediocre human at,
Yes,
especially when it comes to writing.
yes.
For now, they are already
Hmm.
better than, but
Hmm.
yes, they're going to replace mediocre anybody.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so that is the trap, you know. First we had these, standards lowered and lowered and lowered, and now it's time to replace that. All right. Fine. Masha, thanks so much for this conversation that didn't have any question in it,
That's,
I guess.
level God.
There was level God, yes. It was no thinking out loud proper. However, I could argue with this because there was some thinking there.
Okay, you'll have a chance to
What
argue
was
in your
that?
next newsletter.
Oh, okay, great. Fine.
I want to see you suffer.
Thanks a lot. You know, I love writing text for our newsletter.
Okay, great. I'm happy for you. So that's it.
So,
So people,
over to you.
if you
Oh, yeah.
maybe like reading our newsletter, would be nice to read some comments. Is it possible on
Yeah, guys,
Substack?
of course. There's a chat I opened on our beautiful Substack, and then you could actually get in touch with us in so many ways. You know, there's actually a Twitter account, which I think only a few of you know about. I'm gonna link all of that. It's, I guess, time to link all these social media in our podcast episodes. How about this? I never did that, you know. But there is our website, tolpodcast.com, where you can find all the links.
I
So
think it's so confusing, if I wanted to
yeah,
leave a
yeah,
comment, for
Masha,
example,
we
now we
talked about it.
have two different opinions, empty words, not empty words. I believe that it's something that should definitely, drive
Spark
people,
some,
spark
yeah.
some. And where would I go? For example, I burn inside and support, let's say, your idea. Where should I go? Oh, these social media.
Yeah,
Go to
yeah, I think
Substack.
that is
Yes,
the
and
problem. Yeah,
leave.
I think Substack would be a natural choice, but then you can comment, under each and every podcast episode on each and every platform. This is sick, you know. I agree that, this is
Yeah,
totally
too
messy.
much.
This is totally messy. Yeah, this is too much. Anyway, we are waiting for your interactions because this is something that that could support us a little bit in this journey of podcasting,
Of
because
free
we are kind of
podcasting.
free podcasting, exactly. Great. Masha, thanks a lot for another fantastic conversation. It was a pleasure talking to you. And thanks to our listeners for listening to this podcast.
Are you sure I'm not an AI?
I'm sure you're not an AI.
How? Why are you so sure?
Well, I'm sure. Um, I just
Maybe
feel it,
I've trained my avatar on all our conversations.
It may be the case, That would be a big surprise for me, But I
Then
guess
what would you
you're
do
not
at the
AI.
conference?
I would tell everybody now, conference over. Let's go home.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. It was number 91.
91st episode. Yeah, we are approaching 100. It's going to be something
100.
special.
Okay. Okay. I'm nervous now.
No, it's going to be a totally ordinary episode, number 100,
Yes.
Probably.
So yes, stay in touch, keep in touch. Thank you for being with us. And this was another episode of the Thinking. It's so many the sounds of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.